there to back up the Oracle, jumps in, chops him down. The Riki coming through as well, forcing FL to split. Arme jumping forward, looking for XY's, trying to get more out of this, but the turnaround potentially there from Faceless as they turn, take their attention towards Arme, bring him down once. They bring him down a second time, that's the question, and the answer probably is not. Maybe able to get XZ though. False promise for Victoria. They're in time with the urn. On in the heels should be enough. He blinks away. Jabs moving forward with the Stone Gate, trying to catch some more stragglers of LGD. It looks like their heals weren't enough at the end of the day for XZ. Riki to fall. XY continuing to chase down, looking for Victoria. Arme still in the neighborhood. XY, he can play around with this. Has a time lapse as well. Arme jumps in with the bash, but he did cast the Shikuchi off in time. Only getting back just up there in the fade time. And no detection, of course, on the PA. So at the end of the day, they take away the Aegis. They hold the high ground.
It's a good hold.
Yeah, it is indeed, considering the situation that Faceless were in.
Yeah, they'll take it. I mean, they're in that position where they're now playing that LGD role, where it's defending your high ground for as long as possible in the hopes that your carries can get those late game core items they need.
But talking about carries and late games, Jabs is getting absolutely hammered on by maybe. Black will turn up and actually looking to turn, but Jijing's there, jumps in with a two-man crush. Ice turning up as well. And it's a bit of a full-scale fight though as Arme Katusa focuses his attention towards Jabs. Jabs falling low. Actually, Jabs surviving for the last bit of time. Finally goes down there as Arme jumps forward, and now Black and Ice potentially in trouble as well. Black trying to get himself out into the safety of the trees. They're not safe at all as LGD move in, claim a second, and this time in this trade, it's back to business for LGD. They lose nothing, and they take down both the two late game cores of FL.
Yeah, that was just LGD bringing the numbers they needed. Oracle shows up in time to help the OD out, and that short cooldown on Astral, allowing them to have the uptime they needed. Faceless couldn't bring in the numbers. They didn't have the damage to burst down the OD in the last, so the false promise was actually on cooldown, but didn't really matter.
And just pick after pick for LGD. XZ. I mean, this man's Riki performance, just the vision that he's been giving and the setup potential he's opened up for Jijing has been absolutely perfect this game.
It's been such a great pick for LGD. The Riki, like you say, the vision, the scouting that he's brought to the table. Both teams have been buying tons of sentries, but it's also, that's a dent to the economy of Faceless. Part of the reason why a lot of their heroes, like the Ogre sitting on 1300 net worth, is because of how many sentries he has to buy. Weaver hasn't been able to finish an item either, so suddenly LGD, this time around, they will break through the high ground. They will get the melee racks, and
then he's in a big gear Faceless, and it's going to be so hard as well. Maybe he's just picked up a full AC. He's got so much armor.
Yeah, that's absolutely absurd. He recognizes the threat. The only way he dies is physical damage.
Jijing following through again. XZ's jumping. They get the two-man crush. Jabs will move forward with the Stone Gaze. LGD back up for the time ping. They get a good discuss onto XZ. I'll take down one. Arme chucking in the daggers again. Will blink forward onto Nuts. Jijing again coming in on the top with a two-man crush. Ice will have the last one to maybe, but Victoria's there with the false promise, saving him. Ice taken down. It's a painful trip back to base as Faceless again losing 3. They will be back up again by the looks of it for one more fight, but they've already lost the full set of racks up top. It looks like they will lose the mid one as well. And potentially one more fight in it for them, but not if they lose the Medusa like this. They immediately jump in for Jijing. Arme, the Sanity's Eclipse from maybe, hammering down onto Faceless' heads.
Yeah, Jabs just could never finish his core items. He ends the game with 4k gold, but his Lincoln's Yasha at 35 minutes in, that's not going to cut it. Obviously, he could have had like the Manta style or something, like the parts of the Skadi to work on, but LGD got too far ahead. They hit their timings. They won that first big fight. I mean, this game,
yes,
to me,
that fight around the Roche.
Yeah, that first Roche fight is the one fight that you look at as far as where this game was decided. I think Faceless already had a weaker early game than they were hoping for based on their draft. You want things to go a bit smoother than that, but you're still in a position where you can make your overall playstyle and your strategy work. You can hit that timing with Drow Medusa if you get that first Roshan. You've got to win that fight, and it just didn't work out for them. They had the blink on the Batrider, but Victoria was ready with the Oracle. They were just so ready to counterplay Faceless at the Roshan pit that LGD won that big fight, and then from there they just snowballed out of control.
Absolutely, just very, very impressive performance, and just all 5 really of LGD just working together perfectly as a team. They all had their strong points. It really was a team effort from not just the cores but also the supports. We saw consistently just Ying and XZ moving around the map, finding those jumps. Victoria's Oracle play, I mean, this is a player that I haven't had the pleasure of watching, but his Oracle performance was fantastic. He was saving him every single time.
Yeah, his Oracle play was always there. there to help his team out. XE always scanning. Like, it's almost like the two carries we talked about, maybe and Ame, like they did their job. Neither of them died the whole game, but the other three players were, like, if anything, the stand-up players setting them up for success. So great stuff all around from LGD.
Absolutely. And we'll be able to bring the panel in. What do you guys think? LGD looking pretty hot here in game one.
Yeah, certainly pretty hot. It's nice. It's keeping us warm here in Boston. But I do want to. I mean, do you really think it was one fight? You were talking about that fight around Roshan. Is that it? Is that where you felt like the game was decided for it in you two?
What do you reckon about that?
It was the deciding fight.
Yeah.
I think from there was a couple other big fights that happened after it where there was maybe some small hope for Faceless. Also, the laning stage could have been better for them, but I think that Roche fight, giving an Aegis away like that, just decides way too much.
Yeah, it's especially with the draft that Faceless were running. You know, with a Drown search, it's incredibly painful. You lose one fight like that, and the momentum that you need at that stage of the game, 20 minutes in, it's very hard to bring back, and especially against a team that's as formidable as LGD, they're not going to let you do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Owen and Gods. We'll be back with you for our second game. Now, to talk a little further about that, to expand upon that, and to hopefully give you guys the highs and lows, I've got myself, Nalini, Pyrian Flax, and Purge. All right. Do we start with that point that they've made? I mean, Purge, I saw you nodding as they were kind of listing that off, that one fight around the pit. The determining factor, or perhaps not so much?
It was definitely a factor, but I felt like there was a pretty much commanding lead from LGD for the whole game, and it was something that Ben pointed out. The Weaver was already countered by the Riki. Was it a good pick there? I don't personally think so much. Like, they had so many great gank options across the map. They had really good Riki plays, really good Oracle plays. Yes, some of their dives didn't work out so well, and Ice had a fantastic game. They faltered there, but I felt like LGD was just ahead almost the whole game.
We did get to see, I mean, you were not, I don't want to say you were critical, Malini, but you weren't convinced by that Weaver pick?
No, I wasn't. It's just a VP specialty, and we haven't seen Faceless play it at all, and it's a very esoteric pick. Like, you can't just, we have a Drow Ranger. Weaver's pretty good too. You can't just do that. You have to practice a lot with it. It has to be in the right situation, and it doesn't seem like this game was that right situation for them. It just felt like they picked a lot of strong heroes, and I did feel like they were behind the whole game. They weren't winning the laning phase with Drow. They weren't out CSing, and they were forced to fight way too much because the Riki was everywhere.
Riki was getting freaky. XZ was behind that. Ted, what was your biggest takeaway from this one?
Oh, well, I think Maybe played really well. They didn't kill PA or OD once in that game. That is really big. I think that a lot of the Astral and Prisoners were really good. Just kind of shut down the Batrider. You know, you could catch him and wait for the Firefly to run out and stuff. I thought it was smart. I thought it was a good team. I think Maybe played really well. But yeah, they had a lot of damage at the end there. The thing is with the Medusa, she needs time. And I did think, well, if they can hold high ground, maybe she can get what she needs, and it's very, very hard to push up into that. But in the end, they just done. I think Ice had a decent start. He got that double kill when I thought he was done for, but then they just kind of shut him down from there. It was a good performance from LGD.
I think what I'm really seeing about all these fights, though, is how patient they're playing in all of them. The way that Maybe he's playing, when to choose to go in and when to back out. He always hit very hard, but he didn't really ever super commit himself to DPSing unless it was definitely time to fight. So in all those early engagements there, just perfect play, perfect game sense by both of their cores, which is why they didn't die so many times. And if you just keep taking fights against your opponents are dying, and you're not dying, and you're also farming, that's when you get those games where Maybe has 50% more net worth than the enemy cores. And that's why he's so far ahead.
Also, it should be pointed out that Slaughter had 20 assists. I mean, 20. Yeah, I honestly don't think you can overstate how powerful it is to have that. Yeah. It's continual initiation, reinitiation, that save potential, big crushes and things. I think Slaughter's been really big so far.
We'll actually bring up the 20 assists, we'll actually bring up the scoreboard so you can have a quick look at more than just that. And this is where I say, Ben, yes, 20 assists, but is there anything else that's jumping out to you? I mean, is there any criticisms to be held towards Faceless? I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is they didn't get going. There's no numbers that really scream anything else.
The Weaver died a lot, eight times in the Weaver. I think the low amount of deaths on LGD, in particular the Oracle played amazingly well. He was like really quick with his false promises, and his positioning was impeccable for most of the fights. And I like 2-2 and 13. That's a great score on Oracle right
now. Ice doing the most damage on his team despite being Batrider off lane. It's kind of a bad sign for you, but you know, when you pick two greedy heroes like Drow Ranger and Medusa, I feel like you have to get to this like weirder stage of the game where they finally get items to actually DPS. That never really happened. Every fight was just Faceless running away in almost all cases, just because the hero combos that LGD had matched up so much better against Faceless's.
Okay, I mean, so I don't want to say that we're already kind of putting LGD in the victory seat.
Oh, I am.
You are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the LGD like outplayed them, or do you think it was a drafting thing for Faceless?
I think draft and outplay.
I think both, yeah.
Okay, so it's basically in every way, shape, or form, LGD played better in that first game. Both
Except
drafting.
Rice.
I mean, their draft allowed them to play a lot better too. So yeah, I think next game Faceless, they just seem much weaker without the Nyx. And with the first Nyx spin, it's like okay, you take away a strong hero from them, and it allows you to pick this strong hero like OD in the first phase. That's normally why we don't see. It's like oh, okay, they could just respond with the Nyx in the first phase as well. So maybe they won't go for a draw strat again.
I mean, we can have a look at our MVP. You'll never guess who it is, of course. Something you said to me, Purge, is when you're talking about LGD, you're probably going to find yourself talking about maybe an awful lot. In the kind of the rankings of Chinese mids, he's right up there, isn't he?
Yes, right up there, more like leading it, probably. Him
He's
and
insane.
SCC.
That's crazy to me.
SCCC, excuse me. God, why do they have to have such terrible names?
He is relentless in the way that he plays OD though. Like his uptime on just right clicking people with Arcane Orb is really really high. Like he doesn't back off that much. If you like his damage done, I think was the highest of anyone, but you can see it in his playstyle. He doesn't back off. He knows when he can push all the time.
He had 700 GPM. 700.